What's going on YouTube? Cinerama 60, Cinerama 60 coming at you guys. Through I guess COVID, rain, sleet, snow, tornadoes, whatever. We're back
We
for
made
our
it.
first show of 2022.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
right.
we're gonna talk to you tonight about a little bit about Sergio Leone and other things. So how you doing, Mike?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just trying to dodge the COVID bullets, but I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, I hear that. It's got closer to around me here lately as well. I don't know if my
Hmm.
mom's got it or not,
Yeah,
but hopefully not.
yeah, yeah. It sucks. It's finally got close to us.
Yeah, this weather just been it's been like real bad this year about doing it's wanting to go like hot then cold, like warm then cold then warm then real cold, and it's just that just
Hmm.
plays havoc on your immune system.
Yeah,
And I try to actually I try to take a lot of vitamins and things like that, vitamin D especially, and vitamin
oh yeah.
C and zinc and all that stuff that it helps your immune system a whole lot.
Hmm.
They claim to people that a lot of the people that have been dying of COVID, a lot of those people are deficient in those vitamins. Their bodies are deficient of those kind of things. And
Yeah.
vitamin D basically simulates sunlight. That's what you're
Hmm.
primarily getting from sunlight. And this time of year, it's kind of important to take stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
highly recommend it. Which being in my situation with the kidney failure and everything, that was they have already had me on that regimen kind of before. Well, right, I got it kind of in the middle of the beginning of COVID, so I've been on that regimen for a while. So
Hmm.
and I haven't really been sick. I haven't been sick hardly at all since I've been doing the vitamins. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I got like a sinus infection this year, which is that's about it. But that's kind of normal. I didn't get one last year, I guess, because of masks, wearing masks and stuff. But I don't
yeah,
know. We'll see, I guess.
yeah,
So yeah,
I don't yeah, I don't know about all of that. I don't want to get into it too much
yeah,
stuff,
it's a
but
drag. It's like what we have to live with every day. So it's meh.
yeah. So Sergio Leone. Um, where to begin? Where to begin? I guess Leone was he's best known as an Italian film director who directed spaghetti westerns. Pretty much put the spaghetti western on the map for the most part. I think at the time of Fistful of Dollars came out, there had only been like maybe less than 20 spaghetti westerns made at that point, and
Hmm.
they wasn't very successful. The westerns that had been made prior to them, as far as
Hmm.
Italian made westerns. So that one kind of screamed to the box office, and you know not only put Clint Eastwood on the map, but put Sergio Leone on the map and Neo Morricone on the map and
Kind of put Italy back on the
other
map.
yeah, yeah. But really, Sergio Leone had a pretty short career. His movie career only spanned from 1964 to 71. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah.
When
Uh,
did when did
his
Once
last
Upon a Time in America come out? I always forget.
um, 84,
Okay,
and then he died in 1990. So
yeah,
yeah, he had
that was his last movie though, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he did.
it kind of broke his heart. Kind of, I think he would have lived longer, but he was really tore up about that because it didn't go the way he wanted it, and wasn't a big hit and
Yeah,
stuff. But yeah, it's kind of sad actually.
yeah. He tended, I guess, from beginning to the end, he kind of got more grandiose in his filmmaking as well. Like they said, they in interviews they say like after he made every movie he made, he just wanted to get bigger and bigger and bigger and make bigger movies,
Hmm.
and maybe that was might have been a little bit of his downfall because people tried to get him to say, "Hey, just try to make a simple movie," or he said, "No, I want tanks in this," or something
Yeah,
like that. Plus, I want bigger
yeah.
effects and stuff, and which, his movies are great, but
Hmm. It's kind
but
of like each movie, like starting with Fistful, like each one
yep,
got a little bit bigger than the other one, like as far as
yeah,
box office. So that meant okay, the next movie, bigger budget, bigger budget, bigger
yep,
budget, and
yeah,
it kept growing and stuff. And as spaghetti westerns kind of fizzled out in the 70s, he had been trying to make it's or Once Upon a Time in America since the 70s, and he finally got it, you know, done in the 80s, 84 and stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, it's because in Italy they had the trends. They like something got big, like all the directors, everybody would clamor to that one genre, and that's all you would see because that's why there's so many spaghetti westerns. And then
yeah,
Euro crime movies got big, and then that's all they made. And then
yeah,
because before spaghetti westerns, he did a couple of like the Roman gladiator type movies, which were pretty
yeah.
big in Italy before all that. So
Did he actually direct any of that stuff though?
yeah, there's one I know for sure. It's called the Colossus of Rhodes, which came out in 61, 62. It was right before Fistful, and I believe he did one other one.
Yeah,
That might be his first movie, actually. It's either his
yeah,
first or second movie.
yeah. Let's see that here now. There's
Yeah, and
one
then
called The Last Day of Pompeii, but I don't know if he fell there.
oh yeah, that fits in there somewhere. I don't know.
I think that was in 1959.
Hmm.
Uh, I think he took over for a different director during that who had
Okay,
got
yeah,
sick during that. Okay, I'm just looking at
yeah.
some of the filmography, but the one thing that the spaghetti western, at least especially Sergio Leone, when after Fistful of Dollars came out, it kind of revitalized even the American um, western because at that time the western in America was kind of starting to kind of go by the wayside a little bit. We were
Hmm.
seeing a lot of, which I've talked about a little bit about the old man westerns and things like that. That's what people kind of wanted to see in American westerns because all
Hmm.
the western stars had starting to grow old, so
Yeah.
they were wanting to see kind of, well, what's the adventures of these old men in westerns kind of, and that's what you've seen a lot of in that era, like Ride the High
Yeah.
Country and the always forget him, the Randolph
Oh,
Scott, excuse me, Randolph Scott
yeah.
movies.
Randolph Scott.
Well, the later Randolph Scott
Yeah.
movies with Bud Bedecker, those were all kind of those older, kind of
Yeah.
old old Western hero kind of movies. So that's
Hmm.
what you were seeing a lot. So the spaghetti Western kind of revitalized, I think, Hollywood, and especially I see movies like Sam Peckinpah, for example. I think Peckinpah, I don't know if he had established his style because he kind of started really when he started making movies in the 60s. He didn't make too much in the 50s, not as far as movies. He did television a lot
Hmm.
and things like that, but I don't know when his first directorial would have been The Wild Bunch, wasn't it?
No, I think it was. Well, it wasn't Ride the High Country. It was something before Ride the High Country because that was
Yeah, I can't
'62.
remember. Yeah,
But
but
he had a show on TV that was really big called The Westerner, and that
yeah,
was
yeah.
kind of what he was got pretty big in. And then he did Major Dundee
Yeah.
after that.
But I feel like his style is a little bit. I feel like his style is the closest to, at least as closest to spaghetti westerns as far as any American director really came, as far as the look goes, and it's just a
Hmm.
real gritty looking west and a really realistic looking west.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what Sergio Leone wanted, is he wanted it to look real. He didn't like the kind of some of the fakeness in Hollywood, which I it's some of that depiction isn't necessarily true. If especially if you watch as many westerns as we have, and you've watched way more, so you obviously know more. But you obviously know that all westerns weren't like the good guy wears the white hat and the bad guy wears a black hat westerns. And that's
Hmm.
the way he kind of saw westerns, because I guess that's how westerns kind of came to Italy. He had
Yeah,
sometimes had the people have the wrong depiction of the way things are, but but really the Western in America wasn't necessarily like that. There's a lot of different variations on the Western and different kinds of stories
yeah,
and
yeah. I think that, like you were saying, that I think his biggest influence on him was the Wild Bunch, which was '69, which was also, even though it was a western, it was part of that new wave of the '70s. It kind of kicked the '70s off with the independent director, and the director was now the cool person. You got the Coppolas and
yeah,
the Spielbergs and Lucas and everybody doing their movies and stuff. So him kicking it off
yeah,
with that real blood fest, was a big tribute to spaghetti western, if anything.
yeah.
But yeah, that's a good example of it. Yeah, which is
But but uh, but most some people I get any big Sergio Leone fan knows that the fistful of dollars, excuse me, was actually a adaptation from the Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo,
mhm.
and he actually got sued for. They got sued
Yeah,
for it,
yeah,
and it was. I mean, I think the kind of the basic plot and stuff is there, but the whole character depiction and like kind of the character motivations and things are much different than
mhm,
Yojimbo, which I haven't. I've seen Yojimbo, but it's been a while, and
mhm.
so
Yeah,
it's kind of a pretty interesting adaptation. But he's not the first person that's kind of tried to adapt
mhm,
Kurosawa either. And I think even Star Wars is kind of a loose adaptation of it as well.
mhm. Yeah,
You know,
more or less. Yeah, Lucas was a big fan of Kurosawa, so.
yeah,
But yeah, like that movie, they kind of replace samurai swords for six shooters, and
yeah,
Mexico for feudal Japan and
yeah,
stuff. But yeah, basically the blueprint, basic basic plot. It was
yeah,
obvious enough for him to sue him. So I guess, I mean, I guess he could have said no, I didn't do that, but he said, yep, I did it. You got me. So so I mean, I guess there's enough there similarities. So um,
yeah. I believe even in when it did get released in Japan. A fistful of dollars did, but they actually, where they, I guess they had sued it. He basically, I guess, Kurosawa had, I guess I don't know if Kurosawa himself had it, but when they renamed it in Japan, it was actually like Yojimbo 2 or something like that. They actually named it
yeah,
that. It's on on the,
yeah,
so
somehow
it
or
was,
another. Well, it became a big hit, and it crossed over. Once it became a big hit in America, it's like the world started looking at it, and I think he saw the movie and he was like, "Man, this is just like it." Or somebody in his camp or something saw it and said, "Hey, you better look at this because this it's a ripoff, man," or something, But I think there's still enough originality there. You know what I mean? To where
yeah,
it's not a carbon copy, but you know what I mean. There's still, because I don't know. I mean, both actors were so iconic. You got
yeah,
Toshiro Mifune, and then you got Clint Eastwood, and they're just both legends, and stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's still good, but the legend has it that he made a lot of money off that movie. Kurosawa did, so because he was getting royalties and stuff off of it, so it made him rich, anyways.
yeah. But, well, what I was thinking of something and it slipped my mind. Oh, yeah, but have you ever seen any of the, have you seen that documentary where there's a guy who he collects a lot of the posters and things, a lot of memorabilia from all of his movies, like fistful of dollars and stuff, but he shows all the
Hmm.
different adaptations of the posters. And it's kind of funny at first. The early posters didn't even have Clint Eastwood depiction at all on the artwork. It was, I think, the first one that had it was actually the American artwork, and the guy actually kind of put in like a Clint Eastwood like person and kind of made him
Hmm.
kind of iconic. But the others just had
Yeah.
like generic depiction of some of them.
Yeah.
Some of the countries and territories didn't even have like even a correct depiction of the movie at all. You wouldn't even know what the movie was at all if you
Hmm.
seen the poster. It's kind of funny. But then I
That's
guess
it.
it kind of, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say it, different movie though, but Django, the 66 movie, when that became
Yeah.
famous, movies in like, when a movie would come to like Germany or France or somewhere, they would rename it for their country and they would just put Django in the title and everybody would assume it's a sequel and they would flock to the theater to see it. So it was kind of funny how there's like 100 movies named Django, which none of them are sequels at all. So that's what's really funny.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
had nothing to do with Django at all. So it's
Yeah,
funny.
there's only one of them that's directed by um, Corbucci, isn't it? This is the
Hmm.
first one. Does he only
Hmm.
directed the very first one, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just that 66 one.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah.
they, well, they said something like in the 80s, like 87, there was an actual sequel with Franco Nero, but it really
Yep.
wasn't. It was similar, but it wasn't. It was more of a like 80s action movie. It was weird. I've never seen it though,
Mm.
but it's
Yeah, I have a box set
um,
somewhere that's got a bunch of those Django's on it, but I don't think I've watched but maybe one or two of them. But
hmm.
they kind of, some of them get kind of violent. Some of the later ones, they're like really
Hmm.
violent towards women and things like that. And
All
and
kinds of stuff. Yeah.
there's like I think Leone, though, you don't see a lot of women in his movies, and he didn't like. I don't think he liked the way that women were depicted. I keep saying depicted a lot in this. I've had to say tonight, but he didn't like how women were depicted in American
Uh-huh.
movies, and not so much like the way they were treated, just what the way they I guess they came across. Like he said, he would study like I guess American pictures of the old west, and he never would see like like the nice looking school teacher that smelled good, that
Hmm.
the only pictures he ever saw were just the prostitutes and those kind of women in the old west. He never
Yeah.
seen like, so you didn't see a lot of women in his movies, and they're usually kind of seedy if you do see women. The
Hmm.
few women
Usually
that are in his movies, yeah,
yeah, like the dance hall girl or the prostitute or something like that. Or
yeah,
usually dirt, really dirty. Like Corbucci movies kept it real. Like people were just dirty, filthy
yeah,
looking.
yeah,
Like I guess you would be pretty dirty back then,
yeah.
just so much dust and dirt and but
You can smell them on the screen almost.
yeah,
You wouldn't.
yeah.
You don't want to smell them.
Well, I mean,
But
imagine driving 60 miles now, but behind a
yeah,
horse on dust. Imagine you get
yeah,
out, you would just be covered in stuff. So you never really thought about it like that because a lot of American movies, everybody stayed real clean looking. Everybody was nice
yeah,
and looking and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So I never really thought about that until I saw some Italian movies and was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. That's why I was kind of talking about Peckinpah earlier. His movies, the people are kind of dirty in there for the most part. You kind of see
Hmm.
that grittiness a little bit more so than you
Hmm.
do in your standard American movie.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. The American Western, they made so many. They explored so many different subjects that that's why I still have I have a great respect for the American
Hmm.
Western just as well, just because they explore more. A lot of the spaghetti westerns were almost I guess they're almost the stereotype western. There were a lot of guns and a lot of violence and things like that,
Hmm.
and you didn't really get as some of the substance in there. I guess you did a little bit, but it's mostly a lot. It seems to be more stereotypical of a western
Yeah.
than
Well, and a lot of times a lot more anti-hero. You know, the guy was kind of
yeah.
out for himself, and if he would be the good guy if the money was
Hmm.
right. You know,
Yeah.
like to save the town or save the village or something. But a lot of anti-hero going on, which I think that was an influence on in the early '70s in America with movies like Wild Bunch and
Yeah.
stuff like that. More anti-hero
Yeah.
stuff going on, but which was kind of cool to kind of see a different spin on what we're used to and stuff. So,
Yeah. They kind of there's a documentary, a Star Wars documentary. It kind of talks about how they believe that's a way that Star Wars kind of brought, kind of uplifted the '70s because the '70s had become this like a bastion in those kind of downtrodden anti-hero movies, and that's why
hmm
they believe that Star Wars had such a big success is because it was something fresh and kind of new. But you did have a lot of
hmm
that. Some of them were good, French Connection and
hmm
Chinatown and movies like that. You did have a lot of anti-heroes, but
yeah,
you did have a lot of you did. That's when you, like you're saying, you had a lot of the, the I guess the spaghetti crime
yeah,
movies in that
yeah,
era. The years of
yeah,
lead, so to speak, as that
hmm
box set depicts.
yeah, yeah. Even with those, there's like cops that are going against the rules. Like the cop is saying, "There's nothing we can do. These criminals are, running rampant, and they know the laws now. We can't do nothing." So a lot of those are like rogue cops.
Yeah,
Like what do you call it? Like something, say like Death Wish, Charles Bronson being the guy that's
Dirty
vigilante.
Harry.
Yeah, like vigilantes.
Yeah,
Justice and stuff. And
yeah, yeah,
Dirty Harry. Yeah,
you know, yeah,
yeah. So that was pretty big and stuff. So.
yeah, yeah. That all that kind of those kind of archetypes kind of popped up in just in American society as well, because you had
Mhm.
the angels in New York. That was in the '70s. I can't think of their names.
Oh, the what you call them? Guardian Angels.
Guardian angels. Yeah, you had people like that in the '70s. All that
Mhm.
kind of stuff popped up because you had a lot of crime start happening in
Mhm.
those days. The crime, really started escalating heavily in our time.
Mhm.
Yeah, in the
Yeah,
'70s. Excuse me. And
yeah. I think with TV and stuff, more people, the news were starting to report crime. Crime's everywhere, and everybody was scared to go outside and stuff, especially in the big cities and stuff. But also, like with the political upheavals of the '60s, and stuff. I think a lot of that wanted to produce an anti-hero, like somebody that would kind of break through the BS or something. I don't know. That's what I think. I think a lot of that spawned the stuff like that in the '70s.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty cool.
But one of the cool things in Fistful of Dollars is one of the coolest sequences in it. And you didn't. I never had saw it in an American Western. I don't know if anybody ever copied it in an American Western that I can think of. I'm sure somebody did, and I just can't think of it. But it's the POV shot in the opening. It's not the opening exactly in Fistful, but it's like one of the first times that Clint Eastwood kills in that. It's that POV shot from behind the gun at the the hand's
hmm
eye view of it, so you get it like right
hmm
behind the gun firing, and so you
Yeah,
can see like right down the barrel of the gun. That was a
yeah,
very inventive way to do that. And I think that's one of the first times it was shown in a movie like that, and
yeah.
it was really cool.
Well, Leone was, Sergio Leone was really famous for his close-ups. His big extreme close-ups, and like what you said,
Yeah,
point of view shots, of POVs of the right down the barrel, and
yeah,
just sweat dripping off their nose and stuff, just right there, and the tension. You can see the tension in their eyes and stuff. So it was really
yeah.
first time.
The somebody one of those historians talks about that he but you didn't see that a whole lot either. Those kind of close ups on the faces
Hmm.
I think by movie he got even tighter on the faces to the point where he was just showing like the eye,
Hmm.
camera right on the eyes and things like
Hmm.
that. It was really cool.
Yeah, I think that was a really kind of a European thing, really. And because in America, it's like you would only see real big close-ups like that if it was like a dream sequencer or something, like picture of maybe a clock ticking or something. You would see something like that. You wouldn't see it just normal. I mean, I guess showing a close-up like that makes it more tense, somehow. But yeah, I don't really remember. I can't remember anything right off of just big close-ups like that
Yeah,
before all that.
yeah. I'm sure they were there. He just he don't sometimes don't pay attention to it as much, but maybe they weren't. I don't know. It's just
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Um,
what's what's kind of your favorite of his movies?
um, Probably once upon a time in the West. Probably. I don't know. It's kind of hard between that and the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I guess I like that whole trilogy. But I don't know. Recently, when I rewatched them, I really liked the second one a lot. For a few dollars more, I think it's kind of squeezed in there, and people kind of forget about that second one. But I thought it was really good. Of course, Lee Van Cleef is in that, so he makes his you know spaghetti western debut in that movie and stuff. And I thought him
Yeah,
and Clint Eastwood worked really well because they were on the same side, in that movie.
yeah,
Uh, so I don't know. It's kind of hard, man. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to pick a number one or a favorite. Sometimes it's just, but if I had to overall, I'd probably say Once Upon a Time in the West. You know.
yeah. I can't really decide either. Actually, I went back trying to watch today. I actually watched Ducky Sucker, and I hadn't watched
Hmm.
it in a while, and it's a really good movie as well.
Hmm.
I actually watched some of the documentary on it as well. It's pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It was a pretty interesting movie. That's where they kind of got in talking about how he's wanting to make bigger and bigger movies each time, and how that
yeah.
movie kind of got big and everything
More
like that.
more
But
grandiose.
I really like James Colburn as well. He was really good.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You know, yeah.
yeah,
He had actually asked Clint Eastwood to play that part, and I think multiple other people had been considered, but they kind of landed on the Colburn for something a
yeah,
little bit different take. So
yeah. I think by then a lot of people it was really cool to be in the next Sergio Leone movie. Back then because I think by then he had already worked with Charles Bronson and James Coburn and of course Clint Eastwood and I mean, he'd worked with a lot of famous, action types. I think he really wanted to get Steve McQueen on something, but I don't think he was able to do that.
yeah,
But
yeah. Gray 1951 said, "With the rising crime in America today, it may be time for some new anti-heroes in film."
that'd be
Maybe so,
interesting. Yeah.
maybe so. But if it's but the problem is there's we got all these sissies out in Hollywood making movies now, so we don't got anybody to make the movies anymore. So I don't know who's going to make
Yeah.
them anymore. So
It's hard to be controversial, I guess, because even back then in the early 70s, late 60s, it was controversial for like say the Wild Bunch with all the blood and gore and shootings and stuff, but it's nowhere compared to what how that stuff's made out now. It's just like I don't know, it's two night and day things. It's almost like we've gone backwards in time. It's almost like we're in the pilgrim times, like the old Puritan times. It's like everything is so, to a certain degree, but it's really weird. But yeah, that would be good. I think.
yeah, we need some
Being,
good
some,
need some good beat downs of Antifa and Black Lives
shake
Matter. So
and shake the boat, shake up the what do you call it, the
Yeah.
system of movies.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just not going to get anything like that right now because people get their feelings hurt too much. People are afraid to offend anybody. That's a
Yeah,
problem. It's made our country weak by feelings.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like art used to be. Art could be art, and it's who you look at it
Yeah.
and you either liked it or didn't. And even then, it was like if you don't like something, just don't watch it or turn the channel or don't pay to see it. I mean,
Yeah.
but you had the choice. Somebody didn't make you watch it, but you know, I don't know. It's just
Well, the
it's,
kids get lumped into it all. People are like, well, you can't control what the kids watch. Everybody's afraid about what the. It's always been that. It's always been that
mm-hmm,
that in the eyes of the censors, they've always wanted to
yeah,
protect the children.
yeah,
Because you don't see that so much. Well, I don't know about not now so much, but it used to be kind of the case in Europe. You didn't have as much censorship over television and things. You would. Well, I don't. I'm just assuming, and I'm pretty sure you would see like nudity and things on just regular television in some European countries. You didn't.
mm-hmm,
They just didn't have those kind of restrictions that
yeah,
they did in America. Which I mean, that's I don't know. It's just however you just see it. I don't really care one way or the other. But as
well,
long as they're just not. I just don't want to see restrictions on free speech and things like that out there that we're
yeah.
seeing. It's kind of ridiculous. But
Well, I think in Europe, people were brought up with fine art and stuff, and being able to see, say, you know, statues which are half nude or something, and they didn't really make a big deal of it, um, stuff like that. But
just an older society. More
yeah, over
people.
society. But even during the 1920s, kids, were still doing stuff they weren't supposed to do. There were radio programs they didn't want people to listen to, and listening to the blues in the 30s or 40s was considered bad. That was, you're listening
Yeah.
to the devil's music or something, and stuff. So there's always been, you know, something that since the beginning of time.
Yeah. Yeah. The 20s are an interesting period of time. I like to study it a little more in depth too because it's kind of like the not only did you not only you had prohibition going on at the time, but you had a lot of that's kind of like the birth of kind of there's almost like a sexual revolution that went on at that time, especially for women in that era and
Hmm.
for men and women. I think is kind of driven by all the underground, kind of speakeasies and things like that. That's when a
Hmm.
lot of white people first started going to the black clubs and things, especially in the
Hmm.
larger cities back in the 20s. Like that's where the good jazz was. You had, if you know the
Hmm.
really great jazz was like in the black clubs, so people would go there and the
Hmm.
speakeasies and drink, and so that's kind of
Hmm.
how that all that began. So
Yeah, it's kind of like,
yeah, that's when a lot of the promiscuity began in our culture is in the 20s. So
well,
it's kind of
yeah,
like
yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, it's always been there. I mean, prostitution goes back to, way, way back. So there's always been the seedy side of town. There's always been the other side of the tracks in some form or another, um, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, like as far as that, and then in the 40s there were certain things, and then TV came on, and just there's always something that parents, were like, I don't want my kids to watch that as bad. Like comic books in the 50s and 60s, it was, you rot your brain out if you read comic books or something. It was looked down on,
yeah,
and now we look at it as in high art, and
yeah,
stuff. So even with that, um,
yeah. So so what else did you have you wanted to talk about? You were talking about a few other movies here and there. we've talked quite a bit about Sergio Leone. So
Yeah, well, I guess this might be one of the last things on him. Um, I got a newer Blu-ray edition of Once Upon a Time in America, his last movie, and this was a one that had added 22 minutes, which it's still not the complete version, but I think this was the one that he favored that got edited. So I picked that up. Robert De Niro and stuff in it.
that's
Um,
pretty cool.
yeah, I had it's got two different versions on here. It's got the theatrical and it's got the extended director's cut. Because I previously only had the DVD, which had the theatrical only on it. So I really wasn't aware this was out. It had come out in like 2015 or 2013 or something like that, 2015, and I had no idea there was an extended version out. So
Yeah, I need to pick that up if still available. Did you pick this up? I picked this up when it first came out. That from Kino Lorber.
I didn't get that edition, but I had each one of those individually, like
Yeah.
except for Duck You Sucker. I have the Eureka version of that one.
Here, here's what's weird about this set is that Once Upon a Time in the West is not. It's apparently not a Kino Lorber version. It comes with this disc.
Oh
I
yeah,
I I, I haven't
I think that's
watched
a
it.
Paramount. I think
Yeah,
that's a Paramount title.
yeah,
At least the one I got is the
yeah.
Blu-ray.
It's
Yeah, I
kind of
didn't.
strange that they were allowed to package that at all like that. That's a weird
Yeah,
cross promotion.
yeah. I guess they stuck all the westerns together, which I guess that's pretty cool, you know. But I didn't even realize they did that. But you know that they're starting to come out with the 4Ks with that. I think this year they're going to release the other two, the first and the second of his trilogy in 4K. Because
Yeah. Yeah, the reason
I,
I haven't bought those yet is because I want them to put a set out like that, the 4K set. I don't like. There's so much 4K stuff coming out, or there's announcements of 4K movies coming out that are all
mm-hmm,
individual from different people. I was like, I want a set of this stuff. I want like a Stanley Kubrick set.
mm-hmm.
I want a um, break. But I just want sets of some of these people. Some of these directors. I
Mm-hmm.
want their sets, not all these individuals. Of course, they're going to make more money on individual sales, obviously. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I think the next Stanley Kubrick 4K, I think it's going to be Eyes Wide Shut. I heard a rumor, I read that somewhere, which I that's a movie I haven't watched a lot. I've watched it probably 5, 6 times, but it's a movie I haven't watched a lot of. So
yeah, yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
yeah, it's pretty good. It's still got a lot in it to see. You know, each viewing of it, you see something a little different, catch something new.
Did you ever
So
see that documentary, that Room 351 or whatever it was called, or whatever the ring
oh
number
yeah.
was in that?
Oh,
That's pretty
237. Yeah, that's
237.
good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's a really good documentary.
yeah. It's interesting. That's
It's
interesting
in
stuff.
how deep they went into it and to analyze all the little stuff in there, like the carpet, even like certain, you know,
Yeah,
it's it's wow. I mean, it's unbelievable how they went and just analyzed each thing. You know, like something on a picture frame in this scene or the window. Something's weird about the window. It's like I never even noticed that. You
yeah,
know, it's all this stuff's kind of cool.
yeah. It's kind of crazy, but well, especially when they start analyzing that movie, uh,
The
all
Shining.
the yeah, The Shining, all the just the way he departed from the book, the kind of meaning in that, the way he changed things up so much that it's just the interesting correlation between that and some of the other
Mm-hmm.
things going on. Maybe he's doing it, maybe he did it on purpose. But the thing is Kubrick being such a genius in the way he was and messing around with that storyline and movie, I mean, you would think there's probably something more to it. Now, him trying, trying to say, well, I'm trying to tell you the truth about the faking the moon landings and all this stuff. I don't know about that, but,
Yeah.
but there has to be something going on there. He's trying to say something by making such great changes in this story, which was, you know,
Mm.
was
Or
pretty a pretty decent story to begin with.
yeah, it's really cool how two masters, in their
Yeah,
field came together. And I know Stephen King got kind of got mad about how he kind of changed stuff and everything.
yeah,
But I don't know. It's like I've never sat down and read the book. I've always seemed like I've always seen the movie. I've never read that particular story, so I've always just seen his version of it as a movie. So um,
yeah,
I think there was some remakes of it that went more with the book. I believe
yeah,
I
yeah.
think there was a remake, but I don't know.
I have that one movie over here on the movie that came out a couple of years ago. That's kind of like a sequel to it or whatever. I
Oh
can't
yeah,
think of the name of it. I haven't even watched it though. I bought it
oh
and I haven't even
yeah,
watched it.
I watched it. It's pretty good. God, I'm trying to think of what the name of it is now. Was it Doctor or
Sleep, Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep? Yeah,
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 yeah. It was interesting.
yeah. I need to sit down and watch it. I just haven't done it. I think I picked it up in 4K and just never did watch it.
Mm, yeah, I think I got the regular Blu-ray of it, but it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good on its own. Even if you've never seen The Shining, I think because
Yeah,
it's a good mystery. It's a good mystery movie and stuff. So,
yeah,
but yeah, I guess that's about it with Sergio Leone. I think I got. I did pick up. I don't know. Was it you? I don't know if I was watching the other podcast or something. Somebody was talking about the 4K of The Outsiders. I don't know where I read that, but I picked that up. Um, Amazon
yes.
had it really cheap, and I was like, I'm gonna jump on it.
Yeah, I say
So
Charlie was talking about that. He talks about that a lot. So yeah,
okay, yeah. Which I
I did.
haven't got to watch it yet, but it's an extended version, so I've never seen it.
Yeah, I didn't know it was even out yet. So
Yeah,
I will have to check that out. It's
yeah,
pretty cool in 4K. What
yeah.
um what coming out on 4K kind of excites you? I did see today somebody posted that they're going to put Giant out on blue or 4K, excuse me. I was kind of
Hmm.
excited about that, but
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me see. I got that. I got this version, the James Dean box, and it's got Giant and East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause.
yeah, I have that long box. It's up top here. I can't get to it very easy.
Hmm.
That special edition that came out several years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
I, I always think this is longer than it is for some reason. It says it's only 108 minutes, so
Giant,
I
I thought it
was.
was like 3 hours or
I
something.
know. Yeah, that can't be right.
Mm.
That's weird.
It feels like that. I don't know. I'm gonna do a video on it sometime because it's like one of my favorite movies. I just haven't
Hmm.
done it yet.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's really good. It's got a great cast. I mean, Sal Minio's in it again. Dennis Hopper.
Hmm.
Uh, it's got a lot going for it. And I noticed Rock Hudson did a lot of good stuff in the 50s. Like I initially wasn't always a big fan of him, and I've just kind of gotten into him over the past few years through some of the westerns he was in and stuff. And he did quite a few excellent movies in the 50s. You know,
Yeah, Yeah,
So
couldn't really name all of them right off the top of my head, but I know I've seen several of his movies. I'm bad about
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. One of the movies I watch, I don't know if you've ever seen this. I watched this recently. I've had it for years, and I watched it again. But the Revenant
Hmm.
with Leonardo
Yeah.
DiCaprio, it's still really good, man. That's a good performance in there. He's
Yeah, I was thinking about that a while back. I was thinking about how I need to go back and watch that again.
yeah, and Tom Hardy is in it, and he's really good. So
Yeah.
that's a good movie. I mean, I think it won Best Director, Best Actor
Yeah.
that year it came out. But yeah, that's a great movie. As far as 4Ks, so I got that. I got The Outsiders. For Christmas, I don't think we've talked since Christmas. I got this on 4K. The Green Knight, which
Yeah.
is a newer movie, which
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I haven't been able to watch that. That's on 4K. I got the new Bond movie for Christmas.
Yeah.
I watched. It's so so. I need to watch it again. And then I got Snake
The
Eyes.
the buy it to burn it.
Yeah, my dad's a big fan. I gave him the DVD out of it because he's not really a big Blu-ray 4K person. He's just barely does DVD. So I was like, yeah, you can have DVD,
the
Dad.
the opening's really the only thing Bond in it to me. The rest of the movie's just boring. It's just like a bunch of deposition. You're just sitting around talking. Like
Mm,
talking goes into like a little bit of a action sequence and just more talking, just like talking.
yeah,
It's just like the
yeah,
demasculation of James Bond.
yeah,
It was
yeah. That's what
written.
I've.
It's written in least part by that woman who's writing the new um, Indiana Jones, Phoebe Waller Cates.
Uh
Which the show she's on is not terrible. She has a HBO series, which it's I don't know if it's still running or it's already went through, but it's a British. She's a British actress, and
yeah.
you know, but it's called Fleabag. She's on a show called
Oh,
Fleabag, and
yeah. I've
it's
heard of
all
it.
right, but I don't want to see the. It's just all this crap that's going on right now. I just don't want to get into
Yeah,
it too much, but
it's horrible. It's just I don't know. Of all the people that could do that to, not James Bond. It's like not. He's
yeah,
but he's I don't know. So many guys over the years have grew. I mean, women too. Women are big fans of Bond, and stuff. They don't want to see Bond go out that way. But like you said, let's not get on that because that's a whole other huge can of worms. So it's just
yeah.
ridiculousness. But I'm trying to think if I got any. What else I got? Those were some Christmas stuff I got. Uh, then I got. I don't know if I've showed these in a video yet. I showed this in the unboxing video I got from Carlos from the UK. The Great Silence, which this is really good edition. It's really nice. The UK edition.
Which one is that?
The Great Silence.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that new Eureka. Well, here's the other cover.
Oh, and I just finally ordered me a multi-region Blu-ray player. Finally.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah, man, you're gonna have. I don't know. You're gonna be really happy. I
Yeah.
was amazed, man. Once I got mine, it just opens the door to so many movies and stuff, and you'll probably
Yeah.
be more poor now. You'll
Yeah.
go broke.
I have a few things. Believe it or not, in my collection, I have not bought a lot of. I've tried to only keep with Region A titles for the most part. So
Oh really?
I haven't. Yeah. So that's my big thing. But I'll pick up a few. I have a few things that I need to watch that I haven't really been able to watch on multi-region stuff. So Not a
Yeah,
whole lot. I picked up a couple of Jackie Chan movies, like the Eagle and the Snake, whatever that movie. I always forget the name of that movie. It's one of his early movies that's really
yeah,
good. It's like one of his best movies. It's like
yeah,
one of his first movies, like the Eagle Claw or something. The Snake. I
yeah.
apologize. I'm butchering that, but
Well, no, I know what you mean. I can't think of it either though. But another one I got. I don't think I've done a video with this yet, but I got the Sabata trilogy on Eureka too,
it's really
which
cool.
I had the old trilogy of this. It was together on DVD, and it looks really good on this. They really cleaned up the picture, and it's got some really good documentaries on there and stuff. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, as far as stuff I picked up lately, I picked up that Ida Lupino filmmaker collection from Kino Lorber.
Oh yeah, I actually got that last year for Christmas. It was
Yeah,
pretty cool. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. The hitchhiker on there is really good. That's a great movie. She is really a great director. I mean, she's so underrated. You
yeah.
know.
Well, these are a couple I picked up recently. These are it's a couple more Kino Lorbers. I got
No,
Larceny.
oh yeah,
It's excellent.
yeah. Did you
And
watched it?
this one,
Did you
yeah,
watch it?
yeah. This was really good
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Don't wake up screaming. Yeah,
Well, what did you think about the ending of Larceny? Because when I did the video of it, I was just like, it's so good, and then it just kind of ends, and it's kind of like it's almost like something happened, and they just went back and they edited it or something, like it was something juicy happened, and then they just made it like everything wrapped up happily. You know what I mean? The cops
yeah,
came, and I don't
yeah.
know. It
Well, that's not so uncommon though with a noir though. They kind of do that with noirs. It's like
yeah.
hey, the story's like moving along, and then all of a sudden it kind of grinds to a halt.
Hmm.
That a lot of them are like that. A lot of them
Yeah,
are. Well, that one I was talking
that's
about
true.
that what's that? It wasn't Asphalt Jungle. It was that other one. What's that one we were talking about on a different stream?
Mm,
Um,
mm,
it's a famous one. It's shit. Hang on a second. It's
I'm trying to think. I should know this.
Detour. Detour.
Oh, Detour. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say I should know this. I've done so many film noir videos here lately, but
Yeah, Detour kind of does that. I have a feeling it's kind of like that to me. It just kind of ends.
yeah, yeah, I got that over there
I
somewhere. But
I've got a lot more than this. I've been watching all those Columbia film noirs, those Mill Creek sets, which were they were all the movies from that other film set,
oh,
Indicator.
the the indicator sets. Those are so nice. I got one of them. I think I got number two or number three, and it's like, man, if you don't buy it like when it first comes out, it like either sells out, goes out of print. And then if you try to
The
buy it on the secondary market, it's like so expensive. So it's
Now, they do have the Indicator or the Mill Creek versions?
I got the indicator
Okay.
version of that, but
Yeah,
I
I
know
didn't
what you.
even try. Yeah,
Well, I looked at some of those on Amazon, and they're kind of going up in price too. Like the older
they're like
blue,
$40 or something.
yeah, like so like $20 more. You can get this. I don't know. But you don't get all the films though. I think you get more with the Columbia ones actually than you do
Yeah,
with the indicator.
yeah. I think you get maybe a couple more, but the thing is that the Indicator come with special features, and being the
Hmm.
Indicator, I figure they do. You don't get any special features with Mill
Yeah, you
Creek.
get a bunch. Yeah, you get a
Yeah,
bunch of extra stuff on there, and plus all a really nice booklet, and then you get just the box itself is like so cool looking, so nice. They just really go above and beyond, I believe. But yeah, that stuff now, man, you can get. You just got the Region B player. It's like
yeah,
it was funny. I was so happy when I got one because it was just like, but you can still be. You know, you don't have to buy everything. region be, but it's a lot of certain things come out and you're just like, so.
I picked up a Hammer Noir set. It's DVD though. It's DVD stuff, but I've only watched one or two things on there. It's really good though. British noirs are really good. They might even be better than American noirs.
Yeah, I've got into a few of them, but I just haven't got all the way, into those. There's one movie that's I guess it's an American movie, but Night in the City, and it's got Richard Widmark and his wife are the only Americans in it, and it takes place in London. So the rest of the cast is all British, English cast members, and that's a really good movie.
Sorry, I cannot get my camera centered there. It's a little bit better. There we go.
Yeah, that's
aggravating. It's been out of center. Where I'm not running widescreen, everything changed.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out one day. Try and get.
But yeah, I'm trying to think what. But like I was telling you before, I saw one of those. The thing is the filmmakers on those. The filmmakers are diverse too. You see a lot of different filmmakers. Who was I mentioning to you a while back about making? Oh, he made he's one of my favorite filmmakers, and everything's slipping my mind this evening. I apologize, everybody.
Yeah, that's.
I'm
trying to. Is it a film noir?
Nah, yeah, he directed. Well, what the hell?
I do that all the time, man.
He directed Anthony Mann. Excuse me, Anthony Mann.
Oh yeah, Anthony Mann.
Yeah, he directed. He has a film noir on there. I can't think of the name of it right at the moment, but it was like a period piece film noir that was like set in Now I'm off to what fucking hell. Jesus. But it's set like at the kind of prior to Napoleon coming into power, like right before, kind of like during, I guess maybe the French Revolution, or sort of like right in that period of time.
Oh,
like,
okay, yeah.
It's really fantastic film noir.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name of it though. But like when I read about that, I was just like, that's interesting. To take place, 300 years ago or something, 200 years ago.
Yeah.
That's yeah. But yeah, he did some really good early ones like T-Men and a couple of other ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did a lot of good ones. I noticed him as a film noir director before I noticed the westerns he did. He did the westerns, and then he did some good biopics, too. But yeah, he's a great director.
Yeah, there's a producer in there that pops up all the time, and I can't think of his name. But he produced a lot of horror movies and stuff, but I can't think of his name.
William Castle? William Castle?
No, it's he kind of produced a lot of B movie stuff. And
Roger Corman?
No. I'm trying to think of his name. I have one of his sets somewheres. Katzman.
Oh yeah, Sam Katzman.
Sam Katzman, yeah. He pops up a whole lot in the film noirs. He produced a bunch of them. On the Columbias especially. Now, like when I say those British made ones, though, those are Columbia too, because Columbia evidently had contracts with British film studios as well, or at least were releasing them in America. So a whole lot of them are the British ones. So they've been pretty interesting. The last several I've watched have been British. They put a lot of them there. So
yeah, that's what's kind of like what Indicator does. They pretty much put exclusively Columbia movies out. So
yeah,
and it's interesting. I guess they They must have had a studio there or something. They filmed a lot of stuff there, and it was released, in America also. But like you said, primarily a British cast and stuff like that. But yeah, they did a tons of movies. Like I'm surprised Indicator still keeps coming out with more stuff every year.
Who's Val Luton? I don't know if I've heard of him.
Oh yeah, Val Luton. Yeah, he did like Cat People. Um, I Walked with a Zombie.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Body Snatcher.
Okay. That's why I don't know him. I'm not a big horror person, so I don't
Yeah,
I don't
there's a
dive
box
into
set.
depth. Yeah.
Yeah, I like. I guess I like more of the older horror movies, but there was an older box set. It's out of print. I can't reach it right now, but it had all of his movies on there, and I think they've been slowly. What do you call it? Warner Archives have been putting them out a few at a time. But I think he did like seven or eight movies.
Pretty good stuff.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I tend to like the older ones, but when it comes to that kind of stuff, I like Hammer obviously, but like
Oh yeah.
Hammer horror things like that. But
Mm,
I tend to like sci-fi a little bit better.
mm. Yeah. Did you happen to get the Incredible Shrinking Man release
Yeah.
on Criterion? That I
Yeah.
watched it the other night, and it's got a really good picture. It looks better than I've remember it because I have it on
Yeah.
DVD, and it just seems to look just super nice.
Yeah. I have the Cold War Creatures set.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Set. Not that.
Yeah. I think
Pretty
Arrow.
good.
Yeah, Arrow put that out. Yeah, I like what Arrow's been doing. They've been putting out some directors, um, some of the B directors. Like I think they have a set with that he did, and then there's some other people. It's kind of almost like regional directors.
Yeah, I have. Well, um, Severin put out. Severin put out the Al Adamson set, and I have that
Oh yeah.
Lindsay Baker set, and
Okay.
yeah, and there's some. He came from the swamp.
Yeah.
That's Arrow, but yeah, this
Okay.
is that which that
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think out of all those, that's the one I would probably get first. Is that one?
yeah
I just haven't been able to get around because I don't have. I don't believe it. I think I have the werewolf. Maybe, but I don't have the other ones. So
yeah.
that would be a good set to get.
I actually have a. I think all these movies on DVD. I'd bought a Sam Castman set beforehand with
Hmm.
his stuff on there. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, he
that's
did
a
some.
pretty good set.
Yeah, I think uh, Gray 1951, who he was just commenting. He's got a pretty cool. He's got like maybe 3 or 4 episodes where he goes through his horror DVDs, and he's got a
Yeah,
bunch of those
yeah,
releases,
yeah,
which is pretty cool.
yeah. I
But
collect
yeah,
some. I do have some horror, but it's usually in kind of that more of the horror sci-fi where I get into it a little bit more.
yeah,
I'm more of a sci-fi person than a horror, but
yeah. It's like I like horror a lot, and I have quite a bit, but it's like I don't know. It's like I grew up on watching horror movies and stuff. But I'm just not the biggest collector of horror movies, if that makes sense. Um, I'm trying to think of, but yeah, like the Hammer movies and stuff. Like even throughout to the '70s, the Dracula, Hammer Dracula, and the different
yeah,
ones, and those are all great. Plus, there's a bunch of other uh, movies they made too. So
yeah. What? Yeah, I was watching. I watched your video other day, and when you had I always forget the guy from Kentucky. His name
oh, William Girdler.
yeah, Gerbler. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I always forget his name for some reason. But yeah, those movies are pretty good too. his movies. Well, at least
Mm-hmm.
the two you mentioned in there. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
watched some of. I have one of his movies on one of his early movies on DVD, and I haven't sat down and watched it. I think it's called Three on a Meat Hook. I haven't sat down and
Oh
watched that
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched
That's
that.
yeah. That's like one of his very first ones. It's real low budget,
Yeah, I'm
but
interested in seeing that. I just hadn't watched it yet, but I had to pick it up on DVD to get a copy of it. So I thought I
yeah,
better pick it up while I can pick it up. So
yeah. It was weird. Like I was listening to a podcast one day, and somebody mentioned William Girdler, and I don't know if they name dropped Louisville, Kentucky, or not. Somehow or another, I started looking up, like researching them, and there's like all this stuff on him. Like, man, and he was like making movies in Louisville. Like he had like a production
yeah.
company here, and
Well, Jason's who used to talk about that stuff.
oh yeah, and then Jason.
Jason, that's who I got it from. Jason, we talked about it on when I used to do podcasts with him. He
Hmm.
talked about it quite a bit. So
Hmm.
yeah,
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 uh, but yeah, those two releases, man, they just look really good. Um, from Scorpion releasing, and they're not even the 4K versions. They just the regular, and they look really good. The pictures are just they did a great job on it.
yeah, yeah.
Just
They
the way it
do.
looks.
They got some good. I think I have those same copies that you have. I believe I have those. I'm not sure which ones I have. I have them on Blu-ray, but I can't. Not
Hmm.
positive if they're both the same company or not. So
Hmm. Yeah, it's pretty
I,
cool.
I'd say they are because I don't think they've released them through anybody else on Blu-ray at least.
No, I don't think so. I think they're just on that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, as far as his other ones, I mean, I'm not really sure, but yeah, if he would have survived in some of the movies he would have probably made in the 80s when horror got
yeah,
really big in the 80s, it would have been pretty interesting. Which I said that in the video, but
yeah,
so
yeah. But how did he get killed? He got killed in a helicopter crash, correct? And like,
yeah, I think he was scouting locations, and he was like in Manila or some
yeah,
jungle type region over there, and the helicopter went down
yeah,
and blew up. And that's
yeah,
all she wrote. But
yeah. God, how many famous people have been killed in helicopter crashes? So
yeah, a
many.
bunch. Yeah,
Yeah, make you think twice about helicopter travel.
yeah. I've never been in a helicopter personally, but I don't know. I do think of that stuff because I think like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like I remember I was a teenager and he died, and it was like, oh man, in a helicopter. It was just like, but yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of people died in helicopters.
it's kind of crazy. My one of my friends growing up, his dad was a gunner in Vietnam, a helicopter gunman. A guy that hung out
Mm-hmm.
the side. And he survived. And like the helicopter gunmen were like, I had the highest casualty rate of anybody in Vietnam too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of crazy
Yeah,
that they,
hanging out the side there.
yeah, yeah,
I think they had to like I think they had to like hook themselves in so they wouldn't fall out when
yeah,
they hang on the edge there. But yeah, that's
yeah, yeah. It's a kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy thinking, 'cause especially in you watch like Apocalypse Now and you see, like the air cavalry and all that stuff, how they had, they just went around with helicopters and stuff,
mm-hmm.
and how
Yeah.
easy it was to shoot down those helicopters. Those helicopters weren't, there was no protection. They were just,
Mm-mm.
aircraft is, aircraft metal is, paper thin because it has to be as light as possible.
Yeah.
And so there's like basically no protection from gunfire at all.
Mm-mm. We got the big blades,
Yeah.
twirling. They're just a big target, waiting to happen. So they couldn't really, do
Yeah.
much to protect that. So I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, they probably had a ton of those lost in the war. Um, one other movie I got out to show I don't know if you've seen this. This came out probably 2005 or 2006 or something like that, and this was part of the John Wayne collection, and they released a whole bunch of movies at that time. This was a movie by William Wellman, and it's pretty cool. It's got a lot of stuff on there. It's called Island in the Sky, and
Yeah.
it's about a group of guys on a plane, and they crash, and they're trying to survive like out in the remote. Um, takes place. I forgot where they're at, like Antarctica. No, oh, Canada. They're in subarctic Canada, but it's pretty cool. What's cool about
That's
it
pretty
though,
cool.
yeah, it's got a lot of special features on there, which is what is really cool. So
Yeah, I don't think I haven't seen that. But
yeah, it's
that's a later John Wayne too. That's the 70s.
no, that's actually it's 53.
Really? God,
Yeah,
he looks. I don't know if that's just an older picture of him or something because he looks old in that picture. Might just be
yeah,
with that cap he has on or something. I don't
yeah.
know.
It's like you take the cowboy hat off him, he looks older. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah, but
need to check that one out. Is it only
yeah,
available in DVD?
yeah. I think it is. I believe. Gosh, what am I? They
Did
released another one. Like they released a whole bunch of them, and these are really nice for being DVD because of just how much they put on it and stuff, and it's got
yeah?
a great picture. And
Did I ever show you that set that I found back in the summer at Big Lot? I think it's a Big Lot set. Let me grab it over here. It's a John Wayne
mm,
set, but I'll tell you about it after I get it.
okay, yeah, that one, and I'll show this other one.
It's not even been open yet,
Oh,
but
really?
I bought it back in the summer. But it's
Oh,
okay.
wow.
All right. John Wayne's not in any of these movies. It's a John Wayne collection, okay?
Mm.
But what it is, these are all movies that were produced by John Wayne's production company.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's got Track of the Cat on it. That's a good one. It's got Rich Robert Robert what's his face?
yeah,
Think of his name. Mitchum. Robert Mitchum in it. That's a good
yeah.
one. But here's the other one in that same series. It's called The High and the Mighty, and it's in that same series. And that's another movie that was just like I had never heard of it, and you can get those like really cheap on eBay, like
Bat, but
brand new.
Bat Jack. I'm sorry, that's
Oh yeah, the
his production.
Bat
Bat
Jack.
Jack. It's his production company name. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah, there's some documentaries on there. I think his son went back and he like got them restored and stuff, and went back and researched stuff, and because they were just like sitting, just they were all tied up in legal, red tape. Like people owned this and they couldn't use it, they couldn't
yeah,
release it because somebody's, so he went
yeah.
and he took care of all that, and then I think he passed away not long after that. So it was really cool that he went and did that because it would still be sitting. And one of the other movies in that series is McClintock, which they went
Yeah.
and restored it because I think that's like a public domain movie anyway. So you'll see some cheesy copies of it out there. Um, but he went and they restored it, and it looks really good. And so
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I have that on Blu-ray. You do too, don't you? Yeah.
yeah, I got a Blu-ray of it. Yeah.
But I think it's funny, and I think in the movie itself, it's kind of funny. People call him either McClintock or some people call him McClintock, and they're always
Mm,
pronouncing it different. I don't know if it's just the different actors' way of saying it, or they told him, they said, "Hey, you need to
yeah.
make this character mispronounce his name or something like that." So I think there's supposed to be like a confusion about his name within the movie.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a running gag or something. Like somebody will mispronounce his name and he'll look at him like something, like
Yeah.
it's funny.
I was
But
just watching something. I was watching a John Wayne movie the other day. I'm trying to think what it was, and cannot think what I was watching. I watched too many movies.
yeah, I do too. I did a John Wayne a new John Wayne video with some
Oh,
stuff, and I haven't released it yet though. But I filmed one here recently.
I know what it was.
That's like me. I have to go and get it. Like I can't remember the name sometimes. I got so many movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she wore a yellow ribbon. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because I was watching. Also have a different version of Rio Bravo.
Hmm.
Sorry, I keep jumping up. I keep remembering what I was going to look for.
Yeah, that's like me. I do that all the time.
I bought this a while back and I forgot all about buying it, and I hadn't watched this version, but this is like Rio Grande, excuse me, not Rio
Oh, okay.
Bravo.
Yeah, Rio Grande. Yeah.
Yeah, this movie and is it? There's a trilogy. There's three of them. They all depict the cavalry.
Yeah. The
But
other one
it's
is Fort Apache is only the other
yeah,
one.
Fort Apache. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't, and I never did own. She wore a yellow ribbon, so I picked that up and watched it.
Mm.
That was really good.
Yeah. I think with that trilogy, I think I only have She Wore a Yellow Ribbon on Blu-ray, and then the other two I think are DVDs because I think I have an older edition of Rio Grande. Um, but that's a movie I've only seen that like once. Can't even remember much of it.
Yeah, this is olive here. This version here. It's that really nice case.
Yeah,
So
they tend to be a little more expensive, I think, sometimes.
yeah, yeah. I seem like I remember this being on Blu-ray.com and seeing the picture on there, and then looking for it, and they for some reason randomly had it on Amazon, so I just went ahead and picked it up. I think
Mm-hmm.
I believe I own another copy of it on Blu-ray, possibly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've sometimes I forget about other companies. I usually search, eBay or Amazon or go directly to the, Arrow or somewhere. I forget about these other companies I could get movies from, but
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the actor's name on here. Yeah, Ben Johnson. He's such a.
oh yeah,
It was
yeah,
interesting how John Ford found him. He was I think he was a
it was
stunt
like
man. I believe he was a stunt man, and he was something happened where he was whatever he was doing, like his the wagon he was pulling or something turned over, and he got off and turned it back over or something. It's kind of a weird story. Like John Wayne or John Ford, like I guess appreciated that he was working hard or something, and he's like he came over to him and said like he was basically like I appreciate you working hard, and then like the next day he showed up and they called him over to talk to John Ford, and he like had this contract in his head, and he was like, here,
yeah,
read, get a lawyer to read this. And Ben Johnson said Ben Johnson, he said I read down to the point where it said you getting paid like $3,000 a week or something like that, and he said I signed immediately. I didn't read anymore.
yeah. He was something to do. Also, I heard that he was like he specialized with horses too, or something. Like
Yeah,
he was a really good rider, stunt, something to do with horses also.
yeah,
But I think one of my favorite movies with him in it is the Last Picture Show, uh,
Yeah,
the Peter Bogdanovich movie, which he just
yeah,
died the other day, and I've been
yeah,
thinking about pulling it out to watch it, um, but always that's the first time I ever seen him. I think was in that movie and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah. I love that
but
movie. I'm trying to see.
yeah.
It seemed like I got the box set of that here somewhere. It's the laser disc box set. I'm not sure if
Mhm.
I even own a copy of it on Blu-ray or not. I
Well,
don't.
the
I think I've got it on DVD, but I don't think I got a Blu-ray copy of it.
the copy I always go to, I have it on a Laserdisc, and it's a Criterion Collection Laserdisc, and
Yeah, mine's probably over. That's probably what I have as well.
yeah, for some reason I always just kind of go towards that edition for some reason because I don't think I'm not really sure about if it's on Blu-ray or not. I'm not
Yeah,
really
surely,
sure.
surely, surely they have. I just don't ever think some of my stuff on Laserdisc. I don't ever think to rebuy.
Hmm.
I hate rebuying stuff, but
Hmm.
if it's something really good, I will.
Yeah, that's what I do sometimes. I For a while there I just had Laserdisc copies, and then I think when I got like my Region B player, there was a lot of like editions overseas that had really good editions with extras and stuff. So I started kind of upgrading to Blu-ray or something. So, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I got a lot of stuff on Laserdisc that I don't have on laser or
Now,
DVD.
do you have the idea if as far as the encoding goes, do you know if Europe still has like the PAL format, or have they kind of went to more of the NTSC type format with digital technology? Because it's just a
Uh,
frame rate difference. Like PAL's like 30 frames a minute or 25. One's 30, one's 25. Basically, I can't remember which one's which.
yeah, yeah. I think they still use the PAL system, and I think you're right. I think it is 25 frames, and 24 frames is NTSC. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's weird. Like when you buy, it doesn't matter with 4K though, because I think 4K is just all region. I
Yeah,
think, but as far as
Blue
Blu-ray, it doesn't matter. But
Blu-ray is supposed to have been that way. When they first came out with Blu-rays, they talked about how it was going to be a region-free format, and then I guess they changed their minds after the
mm,
fact. Or maybe it was going to be HD DVD was going to be region free, but no, but I don't think anything was ever decided on Blu-ray. But obviously that didn't come to pass.
mm,
So
yeah,
I guess they finally decided, well, we'll just make 4Ks since this is going to be pretty much the end of the line for physical media. Now, do you think physical media will I'm thinking. You think it could have one more iteration in physical media? Do you think we could ever see like maybe if we ever saw 8K, it would have to be on some kind of solid state type of drive? You know, you get a movie and it's
mm,
actually on like a little drive instead of a disc. You
mm.
know, and that's the only way
Um,
that a player would be capable of actually playing that large
yeah,
of a file. You know.
yeah. I don't know. It's just the way things are. I mean, I would say never, but I doubt it right now. I think the technology would have to be out, especially 8K technology, out for a while or something because they're still trying to get people to buy 4K. 4K is catching on a lot now than it did a
Yeah.
couple of years ago, but
Yeah.
um, so I
But
don't know, man. Who
but it's still, I still think regular DVDs still outsells Blu-rays. Obviously, 4Ks 10 to 1 almost.
I know that's weird. I hear that too, and it's kind of like I don't think they make new DVD on every title anymore. Anyways, they do on some bigger name movies when they come out, the big
Yeah,
studio movies, some of them.
yeah.
But I don't. it's like that's still so hard to believe,
Yeah.
that DVD, because I think Warner Brothers is like one of the only companies that really puts out DVDs, when a new movie comes out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Generally, I agree. I'm not too optimistic about 8K technology as far as a physical media format. I don't know what will ever become of 8K because I don't know if the 8K televisions, unless you're pretty wealthy, I don't know if anybody really buying them too much who can just
mm,
buy an 8K television for the heck of it. Because
yeah.
when I bought my last TV, I ended up buying a nice TV, but even that OLED TV I bought was probably realistically it was probably $1,500 to $2,000 cheaper than pretty much the lowest rung 8K TV at the time.
Mm,
And I thought about trying to buy like a last year's version of the 8K TVs, and when I bought that TV and then I looked at them and the reviews weren't very good. People had trouble with them. I was like, well, I'm just going to just try to spend the money and buy something nice in the 4K range, and I
yeah.
probably will never it won't ever make any difference. Because with the 8K TV you can't buy an 8K player. There's no such thing. The TV itself, I don't even think they don't even make 8K up conversion Blu-ray or 4K players. So
Mm-mm.
the TV itself has to be doing the up conversion. So it's really not worth it because you're not going to you're going to pay all that extra money and you're not going to get any advancement. It really.
Yeah. Well, there's the kind of the techie people out there that, they have to have the newest thing as soon as it comes
Yep.
out. Of course, those people will clamor for them and get them and stuff, but um, I don't know. I mean, it's like how much more picture quality do we need? You know what I mean? It's kind of like
Yeah.
how well do we need to see it? Because I don't know. It's kind of
Well.
like I'm cool with 4K. I'm cool with
Yeah.
just 1080p for a lot of
Yeah.
most of the time. So
Well, your eyes can't see. I don't think you can see really above too much higher than 1080. I don't really believe, or I don't believe our eyes are capable of much higher than that. Maybe up in the 4K range. I mean, obviously we see a difference in 4K, but I don't know if we
mm,
see the complete spectrum of 4K or
mm,
not. I don't really know. I don't.
yeah,
But your eyes, the human eye can't see much higher than that, if that at all. So 8K and stuff's not even going to make any difference. I don't think we can see that much better.
yeah. That's what I've heard. Also, it's kind of like they keep trying to come out with technology that's going to replicate the human eye to see it exactly like we see it things, and they still haven't really been able to perfect that all the way. So, and I'm not even sure what's perfect vision. 2020, that's like
Yeah.
perfect vision. So I wonder how you replicate 2020
Yeah.
vision in that. So I don't know, man. It's just I don't know. It's kind of like back in the day, like when Laserdisc players were $2,000 and you couldn't afford
Yeah.
one, and then like
Yeah.
25 years later, it's like I can afford to get one now, and
Yeah.
I'm finally getting it now. So maybe 30 years from now, I'll get the 8K TV when it's
Yeah. Yeah.
two hundred
Exactly.
dollars or
Well, I
something. I don't.
didn't. I probably didn't think 6, 7 years ago that I would be able to afford an OLED TV because they were $5,000, $6,000 new, and then
Yeah.
but they were probably 2,500 when I bought that one. So it was kind of high, but I had some money saved and it's before I got sick and everything. So I
Mm,
dropped it because I wanted a nice TV. It'd be the first really super nice TV I ever bought, and I thought, well, I'll buy this, and
mm,
so hopefully it lasts for a while because I'm stuck. I'm not going to be able to afford to buy another one for a long time.
yeah, that's
Not
kind of
at
where
that
I'm at.
price.
Yeah, it's kind of like I did that too. I went to Best Buy and I wanted to get a nice TV, and I started with a Samsung and I brought it home and it had a problem with it, but I liked how Samsung was a little brighter But I ended up taking it back and getting a Sony brand 4K TV, and I like it. But it's like what I paid for it was weird because like the next year, like the market kind of dropped on them, and it was like, man, I paid two times what you can get it for now, and it's like, oh man, it's like I'm kicking myself in the butt. But it's like,
Yeah.
who knew that was going to happen, So,
Yeah.
so
It
I don't know.
happens with all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
technology.
getting my first widescreen television. It was technically a 720. I was going to say first technically HD, but half HD technically. It was just a 720 Philips. It was a Philips.
Hmm.
Um, it was a Philips. Well, what were they now? They were
Uh,
not LED, but it was the crap.
1080p, HD. Trying to think of
No,
some
it
other.
was the plasma. It was a plasma TV.
Oh yeah, yeah, plasma. Yeah.
People don't know what that means anymore. It's already out of fashion. Plasma
Yeah.
TVs, but it was a plasma and 42 inch. Yeah, and it was a big bastard for then. 42 inch for like that was '06, I believe, when I bought that.
Hmm.
It was '06, 42, and I don't know. It was about $1,500 TV, and I'd wanted one for so long. I'd wanted one forever, a widescreen
Hmm.
TV, and never could afford one. And finally saved up and bought one, and was I had that TV for a while, and you had to be careful with it because it was a plasma, so it had burn in potential. If you left it
Oh yeah.
on, it would get that burn in. If you had to be
Hmm.
careful with it. I broke my TV in properly for the first couple 100 hours. I kind of broke it in the way it told you to. So I
Hmm.
never really had a problem with it. Every now and then, if you fell asleep with it on, it would leave lines for a day or something, but then they would eventually just fade away. So I never did have any permanent burn in on it. So it was
Hmm.
but other than that, it was a pretty good TV. That was back when Philips still made some different products and things like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I had a Philips 32-inch tube TV, and I had that for the longest time, and that had the best picture on it. But the thing weighed like 800 pounds, on the big thing. But it had such a good picture on it. But flat screen started coming out, and but I sometimes I wish I had it still, but it's just so you just can't move it easily. It's so heavy. Um, I remember my friend got you remember the big boxy TVs, like the widescreen, it was kind of boxy.
yeah,
Uh, I forgot what they were called, but he had one that was like the top of the line at the time. It was like, wow, look at this. And then
yeah,
10 years later, he's got it like in the garage with stuff laying on it. It's like, I remember talking to him, it was like, man, I remember when this TV was like your baby. Now it's
yeah.
like got dust all over it and stuff. So it's,
Yeah, we had. I remember like when I was a kid, my grandfather used to like big televisions, so he always had the projection ones. He always had the big TV. And then
mm,
we later on we had one in our house. We had a projection, and my parents used to have projections for a long time, and until I finally got them, they had a projection. They had bought a projection probably at this point in time, probably nearly 15 years ago. It was like right when HD TVs were starting to come out with a widescreen, and they'd bought it was still a projection, but it was supposed to be like one of these simulated HD projection,
mm,
and it was a good TV for a while, and then it finally started going bad. And I said, "You guys got to get rid of this." It had a line in it; you could see this line starting to form in it, and I was like,
mm,
"You need to just get you a good TV, get you." And I finally convinced them. They got one of those curved Samsungs they've had for
oh
several
yeah,
years now, but it's a 4K. No, it still looks pretty good. Some of
mm,
the some technologies. Sometimes there's TVs that come out that look phenomenal. It looks like they blow TVs away that come along, like even couple of years later, and that TV's kind of like that. It seems like the technology was like really good for it, and then they realized what they had in it. They said, "Oh, we got to kind of work it back a little bit now. We put out too good of a
Mm.
technology."
Yeah.
And then we because I had a buddy, I had a guy that, well, he was a friend of mine, but he was my next door neighbor when I lived in Lexington, and he had a Sony HD TV. Now it was kind of one of those kind of wide backs, but it was like I think it was an actual 1080 TV for the time
Mm.
period, and it looked phenomenal for, like, this is like 2008 or something like that, and it looked amazing. But it
Mm.
was it was a beautiful set for the time period, and you
Yeah.
just see stuff like that. Personally, I mean, when you said you had Sony, I'd be like, yeah, that's a really great TV, because they make some OLED TVs now that are like probably pretty damn good, And I always liked
Yeah.
Sony's picture,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I ended up not by design, but I ended up with most all Sony stuff. Like I got a receiver, and uh, I think I have like a Infinity speaker surround sound system though. Uh, but initially I like a Samsung phone. I'm a phone Samsung person, so and their TVs were so sharp and stuff. And I got it, and I got it home, and there was something wrong with it. And then I took it back to Best Buy, and they were just like, "Well, we don't have another one to give you." So it was like I started looking at Sony's and stuff. I'm like, "Well, I really like this Sony," so we worked out a deal and replaced it. But I love it. I mean, I've had it ever since, and
yeah,
um, I got a real nice one in the bedroom that's just it's a 1080p, but it's an older flat screen, and it's got
yeah.
the best picture on it. I'll be sad when it finally goes out, but it's been kicking now for it's about 12 years old, and so
Yeah, I had a TV that I gave to a cousin of mine because my TV in my bedroom is a 4K as well, but it's like a low end LG. It was like a $800 4K that came
mm,
out several years ago, and that was my first 4K, and then I bought this one, but I got 4K in there as well. But the old TV I had was a 60-inch um, Sharp. It was one of those Sharps that had it was the it was a Quadtron that had the it had used four different colors to achieve the picture instead of three. It
oh,
had like
okay.
and it had like a really great picture on it for just a regular 1080 TV. That was my first 1080 TV I ever had,
Mm,
and it was kind of mind blowing for the time period, and then it kind of slowly, it worked when I got rid of it. It's just I had no reason to keep it. I didn't have any place to put it. It was kind of a big TV, and so
yeah.
I kind of give it away. I hated to, but I didn't have
Yeah.
anybody to, I didn't have any other rooms of the house to put it in here, so I just got rid of
Mm,
it.
yeah. I mean, and the thing is, of course, a lot of stuff's not made like it used to be back, when we were kids, stuff were made to last. But, nowadays, TVs aren't made to last. They're just made, maybe 3 years. They're expected to last 3 years or something, 5 years at the most. And then, but I don't know. I think it's all in
Well,
how you take care of it and how you know.
well, I don't know really, because the LEDs have potential of lasting longer than some of the other technologies, especially just regular LCD technology.
Hmm.
Which it is LCD. The LED the TVs are LCD, but the lighting's LED within the in the set itself. But
Hmm.
um but they have a potential, that lighting has a potential to last for a long time and stay good and bright for a long time. That's the best
Hmm.
thing about them. But they do have. I did have. I know that's a lie. I did have one other 1080 TV, and it was actually a 3D 1080. But I used to run a little waste transfer station,
Hmm.
and somebody brought a 55-inch LG. That's what got me into buying LGs after I mess with this TV. It had such a good picture, but somebody brought in
Mhm.
like a really nice LG 3D 55 inch, and they were like, well, the guy was like, well, the power comes on, but there's no picture. So it's like ding, ding, ding in my head. I was like, I know what's wrong with it. It's something simple. So
Yeah.
I was like, well, I mean, if you don't care, I'm gonna see if I can get that working. He's like, yeah, that's fine with me. I said, it doesn't have a remote control, but I don't know where the remote went to. But I said, yeah, I'll take a look at it. So I knew it was just a power board problem, and so I got online immediately and ordered a brand new power board for it for $100, and got the power board in and hooked it up, and it worked like brand new. And I had it for several years,
Uh-huh.
and then I give it away. But it was just a power board issue and was easy to fix.
Well, that reminds me of that reminds me of my friend had one a projection TV, and he was like, "Man, it's not as colorful as it used to be. It's not as bright. Like it's weird." And I started looking at it, and what he had to do was basically clean those lenses off. It had like four like projection lenses and stuff, and then I forgot how I cleaned it, but I did something to it, and then we plugged it back in, and it was like brand new again. And he was like we didn't think about that at first, because
Yeah.
it's projection. So yeah,
Yeah. So
it's I was
those
gonna
old
say it's wild,
TVs.
man. Technology
Yeah.
is just wild sometimes. It's
Yeah. Those old TVs were heavy. I had a 27-inch Magnavox I had for years and years. I got when I was a kid. I got it probably when I think I was like in fourth grade or something, but I kept that TV forever. I had it like up into my 20s, up until pretty much up until I got that HD TV. I'd used it and it looked good all the way for all
yeah,
those years. I mean, because that's all, because there was no option really. I mean, if
yeah.
you had some money, there was an option to buy a bigger TV, but as far as a better looking TV, there really
Mm-mm.
wasn't an option. The only better TV you could really buy is like a Sony. A Sony. What did they call their TVs? The Trinitron TVs, or
Yeah,
they
Trinitron.
were
Yeah, Tron.
yeah they were their gun technology on their TVs were supposedly a little bit better than American technologies, or other other manufacturers you know light
Hmm.
gun system on their TVs. So
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Like something you don't see nowadays is a TV repair shop. Because people just they don't
yeah,
bring stuff in to fix it. They're just like, yeah, it's broken, and go buy it or something else.
yeah.
So, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too, because I've fixed several TVs, and there's this woman I worked with a couple years ago who had a TV just like that old one I had. It was but it was like a 70-inch um, Sharp Quatron, just like I had, and it had that same problem as my that TV I'd fixed with a power board. And I was like, she was telling me what it was doing. It was the same problem, and so I ordered a new power board for her, plugged it in, didn't work. And there's another guy I worked with who was an actual, I've have electronic school, and I've done a little bit of electronic repair, but I don't know. This other guy, he was an actual electronic repairman, and a guy I worked with and who did that kind of work, and he looked at it, and it was the same thing with him. He couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. It was just like one of those boards. It was just an issue that it was
Hmm.
probably simple, but trying to figure out what was wrong with it was
Yeah.
it probably cost more money to figure out the issue than it would to actually fix it. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, it's
we
like
do
with
live.
Laserdisc. It's like with Laserdisc players. A lot of times, it's like they're selling it as is, and you buy it. All it needed
Hmm.
was some grease or
Yeah,
a new rubber band, a belt or
yeah,
something, and it's
yeah,
simple. It's just that's the way it's made, and it's just I don't know. It's just the mechanisms are just really well made and simple. It lasts a long time.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. A
so
lot
I
of
don't.
people. I occasionally watch those. channels. The guys that fool with those fool with the players a whole lot, and they do repairs and things like that.
Hmm.
But a lot of times they'll have, you have like capacitors or things that go bad on electronic components a lot, especially older electronic components, which are usually just capacitors are usually part of your power portion of your circuitry. So that's a
Yeah.
pretty common thing to go bad, and capacitors go bad on the audio end of things too. So that's where if you get audio noise, you start looking in that area and things like that. But I've never repaired a Laserdisc player. So
I've
well,
luckily I haven't had to do boards or anything, so mostly,
you know,
you know, mechanical stuff on there. But so
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, me neither. So the problem is those kind of parts are get more scarce and more scarce,
Oh yeah.
especially like the lasers and stuff like that. People, I'm sure a
Hmm.
lot of those guys have bought up as many lasers as they can possibly
Hmm.
find.
Yeah.
I can't remember what kind of player they were. He kept talking about they were doing some repairs on, but that I can't remember. It's like one of those higher end ones, none of mine are high end models. I'd like to have I'd like to have an elite laser disc like a Pioneer Elite, but I've never wanted
Hmm.
to throw in them because they're still kind of expensive, even now buying them second hand. I haven't
Yeah.
looked at the prices the last probably year or two, but I've seen them as high as $700-800 still. So
Yeah. I got an Elite, the CLD 90, and it's got the wood trim on the side. You can take them off and stuff, and that's my basically my player I use all the time, and it's really nice.
yeah.
And I can't remember how much I paid for it, but I got a really good deal. This it was an older guy, older like an old man,
Yeah.
and he had it ever since it came out, and he was like, "I'm yeah, I'll sell it to you in a couple of discs," and I got a good deal, and he shipped it to me, and so and I
Yeah.
think I had to I think I replaced the belts and did very little things to it, and it's been really good.
Yeah, the player I have over here is a really nice player, but it's not an elite. I can't remember the call sign on it, but it's actually a really early version of a. It has a DVD player and a Laserdisc player combo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what the 90 is. It's got that early DVD uh, thing in there,
Okay.
and they say that um, the playback, like if you put a DVD in it and play it back, it's gonna look not too good because it was just very early DVD
Yeah.
technology. But I never watch a DVD on it. But it's kind of cool. The tray, it's got a big tray and it's got the little tray comes out of the big tray. It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I've never even tried it because no point in it. But that's actually that Laserdisc player I actually got from in Columbus, Ohio. I was on actually the story of me starting to buy Laserdiscs was I had a my uncle had a guy that rent. My uncle used to have Well, my whole family had apartments at one time, but my uncle had the last set of apartments, and he had this guy renting from him who basically abandoned all his stuff. And he basically the guy didn't pay him rent, so he basically confiscated all his stuff, and then we
Hmm.
stored it in one of our in our building over here, and it sat around for like 2 or 3 years. It sat in the building, and he had like a thing with like a VCR and this laser display there, which I'd never paid attention to it before, and I was looking at one day. I said, "Is that a laser disc player?" And I looked at it, and I was like, "Yeah, it's a laser disc player."
Yeah.
And it's one of those. It's one of the pioneers that has the port for the game system on it. It's one of those. I can't remember the
Oh
call
yeah.
sign for it. So
Yeah.
I brought it home and cleaned it up, and I found the remote to it, and so I bought a couple of laser discs, and so I started playing laser discs, and it after I watched a couple, it had a noise whenever you play. You could hear it like it was like a capacitor bad. It was like it would pop whenever you could hear it almost popping with the rotation of the disc. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like dirt. I don't think it was just dirty laser or something like it. It had like a mechanical like
Mm-hmm.
kind of pop in it. It was weird. So I was like, this sucked because I don't feel like trying to have to fit. I don't really want to fix this. It was just a single side player. It was nothing special. I thought, well, I'll start looking for a better player since I'm into collecting these now. I've always
Mm-hmm.
wanted to collect them. I started looking for a player. So I ran upon this guy in Columbus who was selling his player. But he put on there, said if you buy it's pickup only. There's no shipping. I won't ship this.
Yeah.
So I put on there. He wanted didn't. I think he had $150 for it plus like a box of laser discs, and so I put on there. Well, I'll give you. He said or best offer. So I put like 120, and he said sold. So
Yeah.
I probably could have got it cheaper,
Yeah.
but so I drove up to Columbus from here, which is about 3.5 hours, and picked it up one day, and he pretty nice guy. He wouldn't ship it because he had moved from like Seattle to Columbus, and they had I guess whenever he had the shippers who had shipped his original Laserdisc player damaged his, so he was afraid to ship anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
he wouldn't ship it. So, but he told me a little bit of the story about the particular unit I bought. Now, when I bought it too, it was supposedly not working. Sorry, I've got some dust or something. I'm coughing for some reason. But the door wouldn't open on it. So, and at that time, I'd read kind of the stuff you're talking about. Said the grease dries up on the gears and things like that, and it's usually an easy
Mm-hmm.
fix if your door isn't open. I thought, well, I'll buy it for $120, and plus I think there was like 20 laser discs or something as well. So it was not a bad deal,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't mind to go on that drive either. It wasn't that bad. 3 hours wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but the Laserdisc player actually the guy he got it from, he had saved he still had the brochure, and inside the brochure was a receipt of how much he paid for it. It still had the receipt inside,
Oh wow.
which was really cool. And he in 1997, I believe that's when it was 1997. That player was $999.
Oh wow.
You know, so
I mean,
it was
think about 1997 money as far as it non. You know,
yeah,
what I mean, that's like $1,500 or something now. But
yeah,
yeah, that's um. I have three players total. I have three, and I actually went to Ohio too and picked up one. But it's like it's a dual. It's a flipper. It's a flipper machine, but uh, I had to go pick it up, but I think I found it on like Facebook Marketplace or something, and I wanted kind of a backup player, um, and I went up there and got it and stuff, and there was nothing wrong with it. It just needed to be cleaned, and I think I put new belts on it and stuff. But he was basically almost giving it away, so I was just like, it's almost too good of a deal.
yeah,
And I think it was in the Cincinnati area or something. So me and my wife just made a day of it. We went to like IKEA or something up there, just
yeah.
and came back with a player, and it was a pretty cool deal. But yeah, yeah. And I always wanted like you said, like one of those the nice ones, the elites
Yeah.
and stuff. So I originally had one, and then I had a backup to it, and then I was just like, oh man, I got to get that elite because it was just like it was another deal, like it's like
Do
it's
you
either you jump on it or you lose it. So I kind of jumped on it.
do you think the elite does it play any back? Does it play back any better, or is it much better than the regular player? Or
It's pretty good. I mean, it's got what it is. It's got more other functions on there. It's kind of cool because it's got a screensaver that comes on. Like you have it on for a while, and it's got like it's really funny because it's so like a 8-bit type of
Yeah,
thing that keeps repeating. It says Pioneer and has a little ship that goes by, and
yeah,
it's like an ocean, and it's just got some functions on there that's different, like picture settings and stuff like that. And it's got AC3, so you can have the Dolby out, on it, and have 5.1, which
I
is
think the player that I have and the player you have are pretty similar because that one I have is it got an AC3 as well. It's just not an Elite. I think it's the same, probably the same thing, just not an Elite.
yeah.
It's probably like the same players you have, except minus some of the special features.
I was trying to
Same
remember.
hardware minus the special features.
Yeah, I was trying to remember the numbers on some of those that were combo players like that. I think there was like a 606, and then there was the 90, stuff like that. So it may be one of those. I think
Yeah,
there's one that's got a 200 something that's similar. But
yeah,
but yeah, I got a backup in case it quits one day and just can't fix it. So
yeah. Actually, I bought another one that I have in my bedroom. I have one in there as well, and it's a lower end. It's another nice player. It's like, but it's just a DVD combo. It's not the blue or not DVD. It's just a CD combo, not the DVD player. But it's a lower end. But I paid somewhere's in a similar range. Maybe I can't remember how much I paid for it. But the thing was, is it came in. The guy shipped it actually, and it was like it looked like brand new. It was. I don't know if he just cleaned it well, but it don't look like it was. You can tell if one's been cleaned or if it's
hmm
been, or it just looks like it just come. But it just looked like perfectly clean, and the remote was in great shape. It was amazing.
hmm
But the guy had packaged it up. It was like I bet it was that thick with it was probably that thick with styrofoam around it. They had it packed up. It was like a big pillow. It was
Oh
awesome.
wow,
It took me about 20 minutes to cut through all the crap to get into the player, which is
yeah,
a good thing, to protect it because I'm sure things like that. It's lucky anything we order online makes it without being broken. I'm sure a lot of things do get broken.
yeah, yeah.
When I
There's
was
some.
going to, oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say there's something on there I can't remember, but if it gets shook up during
Hmm.
shipping, you have to reset. I think the spinner thing can get off somehow if it's shook up. Somebody throws the package or something. So you really do have to pack it really well.
Yeah. They when I was going to electronics school, I worked. I didn't work, but I went to school with these guys who I went to school in Lexington, and these country boys came in from out of town, and so they got jobs up there at working at UPS, and they would talk about this, and that's when there was like the heyday of Dell computers, like when Dell computer first got big, and everybody's
Hmm
buying Dell computers. They're saying,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I don't know how anybody from Dell who ordering these Dell computers are getting them because we just get them and we just throw them up on the hopper and we throw them around."
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So,
I. Anytime I have to order something like that, I cringe because it's like, oh man, because
well, I think things are handled differently these days. I think they have to be handled differently because my last computer I'm using right now, it came shipped from Amazon, but I think they have better ship handlers now. I think they get shipped differently whenever they ship something expensive.
hmm
And it's I think they I don't know that for sure, but
yeah.
I've got very few things that have been damaged in the last little bit. The last thing I got really that's been damaged was back in last summer. I ordered that steelbook, that Batman steelbook set from not Amazon but from Best Buy that come
hmm
in the 10 set, and it was dented all to hell.
Oh wow.
I still got it. Believe it or not, I kept it because it was in the middle of the pandemic, and I couldn't get a hold of anybody to send it back or to even set it up to take it back or anything. So I was like, screw it.
Yeah.
I just straightened it out by hand and kept it. I was like, well, it'll just be some. It's got a couple of dents in it, and I don't really care. I bought it for the movies anyway, so not the.
Well, they must have been really rough with it, though. If you think about it, to dent it up, because I've got plenty of them
Yeah.
come in where they've dropped it and the cases, the corners broke, like a little crack in the little tiny piece comes off or something. I've, got a few of those, but
Oh, they shipped it like half the stuff Best Buy does. They'll take those nice steelbook sets and stick them in a paper bag. Put them in those just that really like lightweight that little lightweight envelope with just a little bit of foam inside of it, or just a little bit of
hmm
bubble wrap. They
yeah.
stick them. I think that's how I got both of my. Somehow I got my Lord of the Rings. I think both of those came like that. Those Lord of the
Hmm.
Rings sets, The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, both came like that, but weren't
Oh,
damaged
wow.
at all. So most of them come undamaged. But if you get an asshole in there, they'll throw them around.
Yeah. Well, I know one company, when I order from Aero, or Eureka, it usually comes in like a cardboard mailer, and it's got it like in the middle, and it's got all this protect.
Shoo.
It's like all glued up, and it's like I don't see how it could be damaged. It's like it comes really nice. So
Yeah, the boutique companies usually kind of take pride in their shipping a little bit more
hmm
for it, but Amazon and stuff, they don't. You might get something in a box, you might get it in just a bag. You don't never know.
yeah,
95% of the stuff comes undamaged, but
yeah,
oh, I tell you, I don't know if I ever told you. Back in the summer, I picked up that 100 years of the Olympics set, that Criterion set they put out,
hmm
and when it came in ship, okay, do you guys where you live at? Do you get like just random people delivering Amazon like sometimes we get like
yeah,
Amazon delivers their stuff, and then you get stuff from UPS or the postal service, but then you get like the independent people, and it's just somebody in a car, and those are the
yeah,
people who'll just show up at like at 10 o'clock at fucking night, and
yeah.
deliver your stuff. Well, this guy shows up in the afternoon during like a rainstorm. It had been raining. This guy's in a pickup truck, and he produces the box from out of the back of his truck, not in the cab of the truck,
Oh my
out of the
God.
back of the truck. The box was soaked, and luckily though, the set itself had been like shrink wrapped into plastic, so it was
Mm.
completely undamaged. But the box was completely falling apart, wet.
Oh my God. That was
You know,
sometimes people just don't have common sense whatsoever. But I haven't really seen an Amazon driver like that in a while. It seemed like it was like last year, like I guess during the pandemic initially, I guess, and I would see people in regular cars and stuff, but I usually just see the Amazon vans nowadays, but I haven't seen anybody in a while do that.
yeah, we get them all the time. I mean, we're not really in the country, but we're kind of in the country. We're just right on the outside outskirts of town, but we get that
hmm
stuff quite a bit. Especially if you have something that's going to be delivered later in the night, they're always like independent guys, which I think it's kind of sketchy having some of these people that I see delivering. It's kind of sketchy.
hmm I saw a story online where yeah, I think it was Amazon, where I guess the guy didn't want to deliver his load, and he was dumping his loads every day in this like creek. It was like down a small ravine into a creek, and like he did this like for a couple of weeks, and then they found out about it, and like they went down there and they were trying to salvage everything. He just had tons of stuff. He was just dumping it. It was like it was kind of
Yeah.
dumb. It was just
Well, if you think that's bad, have you seen out there in California what's been going on? Like apparently like the theft and stuff has got so bad out there that they're just like people are like I guess the homeless people and stuff are just they're robbing like the cargo trains that are coming by on the railways, and they're breaking into these railroad cars that are carrying Amazon packages, and like the whole railway line up in there, it's just littered with Amazon boxes up and
Oh
down
wow.
the, like in Los Angeles and those
Uh-huh.
those areas. They're
I
just
haven't
like,
heard that.
yeah, look up those stories online. There's like pictures. I mean, it's just like boxes. They just leave them. That's not even cleaned up. It's just like boxes where they're stealing stuff left and right. They can't stop people.
That's wild, man. It's
Yeah,
because trains sometimes will just sit there for a while. You know, they're not
yeah,
like
yeah.
it may sit there for a day or two before it
Hmm.
changes track or something. You know, it moves, but that's wild. Just yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
the big problem, you know, initially was people coming on your porch and like taking your packages and stuff, and now you hear all these other crazy stories, and it's crazy. It's so common, you know, to have Amazon
Yeah,
nowadays. So.
yeah. We don't have that problem. We don't where you live far enough out. You don't have that issue. But some of the when I used to follow some of the toy guys, some of the guys were in California, and they would talk about that getting packages stolen,
Hmm.
which must suck.
Yeah,
If you're at work or something, you can't do nothing about it.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad I'm home most of the time, so I'm able
Yeah,
to. I mean, plus we have a camera, you know, comes on when so, but you know,
yeah. Well, in California and stuff, they got that $900 or less thing. If you steal stuff, it's legal, especially out of stores. I mean, it's the crime's skyrocketing out there. It's the stupidest stuff I've ever seen in my life.
yeah, that's dumb, man. Because what is it like $300? I thought was a felony or something like that, or it used to be. I don't know,
Not there
but yeah,
anymore. No, it's seriously $900. They changed it. It's $900. So
wow. I guess it's so
yeah.
prevalent they had to change it, because it was so many people doing it,
No,
overcrowding the
that
jails.
no, that made it worse because it allows that you can steal up to $900 worth of stuff, and it's not illegal.
Oh, okay, okay. That's
It's the
yeah, that's
opposite.
extra stupid. Yeah.
Hmm. No, that, that's
Uh,
that's that's 100% the law. That's not just conspiratorial stuff. That's really happening out there right now
yeah,
in
yeah. It's a
California. Stupid.
that's a that's a racket, man. Well,
Bunch of
nobody wants to
idiots.
work.
What it is.
Yeah, nobody wants to work. So I guess I don't know, man.
No, they're gonna.
It's a crazy world.
Well, like some that I was listening to. It was part of that same story about that Amazon stuff, but they were talking about how the homeless situation's just out of hand, especially like L.A.,
Hmm.
L.A. and San Francisco, but L.A. especially. And they were talking about how there was a girl that was working. I don't know. She was a pretty young girl. Well, she's pretty and a young girl, but she was like probably 18, 19, 20 years old or something.
Hmm.
But she was working at I don't know why she had some of these. I mean, it's a job's a job, but it was probably some kind of it was some kind of store she was working at down close to the area Skid Row area in L.A. And
Hmm.
some homeless guy came in off the street and stabbed her to death.
Oh wow.
That stuff happens all the time.
Yeah, it's it's wild. It's, I know it's scary, man.
Yeah. Well, it's been over 2 hours, so I'm about ready to skedaddle, I guess. So get off here.
Yeah, it's been fun, man.
Yeah. I mean,
I think we talked
well,
about everything,
yeah, we
but
went far. We went far away from Sergio Leone, but I had a good time talking about
yeah.
everything. It's kind of fun when we just kind of bullshit too. Sometimes somebody,
Oh yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. There's always stuff to bullshit about,
yeah,
but yeah. Well, had fun. I guess we'll figure out the next time. We'll I
Yeah.
guess we really don't have a set time. I guess we've been
Yeah.
averaging once a month. It seems like so.
Yeah. Just
Maybe,
whenever.
yeah.
It
Okie
doesn't
doke,
matter.
man.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe next time we can talk about some old television or something. Because I was just thinking about that earlier tonight and didn't get around to it. So
Mm,
we'll do that the
yeah,
next time.
yeah, that's cool. All right, man.
Yeah. Well, everybody, we'll talk to you later. And I'm going to cut us off here and get out of here.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.
Um,
Bye, John.